Most people assume that progress comes from choosing a side. Pick the bold strategy. Make the big investment. Commit to one philosophy and follow it relentlessly. In business and in life, we're taught that success belongs to those who move decisively in one direction. But sometimes the greatest opportunities exist in places everyone else ignores. That overlooked space became the foundation of Ben Kasle's career. It wasn't built on inventing a revolutionary medical device or discovering a miracle treatment. It wasn't even built around becoming the most recognized name in healthcare. Instead, it came from repeatedly asking a deceptively simple question: what if everyone is looking at the wrong choices? Patients were often presented with two extremes: take stronger medication or prepare for surgery. Providers were caught in another impossible choice: spend their days caring for patients or spend them buried beneath payroll, staffing, vendors, and financial statements. Ben noticed that both groups were trapped by false decisions. Instead of accepting those assumptions, he became fascinated by everything that existed in between. That way of thinking eventually shaped elite pain doctors, where the focus is on helping patients find alternatives that don't immediately rely on heavy opioid medication or invasive surgery. The practice combines multiple clinical disciplines so treatment decisions aren't limited by the perspective of a single specialty. Rather than asking what one profession would recommend, the goal is to ask what combination of expertise creates the best path forward for each individual. That philosophy sounds medical on the surface. In reality, it's an operating system for solving problems. Throughout his interviews, Ben returns to the same pattern over and over again. Whether discussing healthcare, business management, leadership, or personal decision-making, he consistently argues that poor outcomes rarely begin with bad intentions. They begin with incomplete information. Patients don't always understand what medication they're taking or why. Practice owners don't always understand the financial health of their businesses. Managers don't recognize the true bottlenecks slowing their teams. People simply keep making decisions based on limited visibility. His answer isn't complexity, it's clarity. That mindset developed long before expansion across multiple locations or overseeing multi-million-dollar operations. Around 2011, Ben began working with private practices where talented providers had become overwhelmed by the business side of medicine. The doctors were highly capable clinicians, yet many found themselves consumed by responsibilities they never intended to master. Payroll, human resources, vendor negotiations, financial reporting, operational problems. Every hour spent solving administrative issues became an hour not spent helping patients. This revealed an important lesson that extends far beyond healthcare. Success isn't determined only by what people are capable of doing. It's also determined by what continually steals their attention. Many organizations assume burnout comes from working too hard. Often it comes from working on the wrong things. Ben repeatedly describes watching providers lose sight of the reason they entered medicine in the first place. They didn't spend years training to become accountants, negotiators, or operations managers. Yet those responsibilities gradually became their daily reality. Instead of criticizing the doctors, he focused on redesigning the system surrounding them. His financial management work grew from this realization. Rather than offering occasional consulting advice, he assumed responsibility for financial oversight, allowing physicians to redirect their attention toward patient care while operational systems became someone else's responsibility. This reflects one of the most overlooked principles in leadership. The highest performing people aren't necessarily those who do the most work. They're the ones protected from unnecessary work. That distinction changes everything. Many entrepreneurs believe growth means accumulating more responsibilities. As companies expand, founders often become involved in every decision, every meeting, every approval, and every crisis. They wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. Eventually, the business owns them instead of the other way around. Ben's experience points toward a different model. Growth happens when systems become capable of carrying weight that individuals no longer should. He often describes entering practices that already felt broken. Financial confusion, staffing shortages, inconsistent operations, and providers who had become emotionally exhausted created environments where solving one problem simply exposed 3 more underneath. Most people would avoid those situations. He found himself drawn toward them, not because fixing them was easy, because broken systems reveal the real causes of failure more clearly than successful ones. It's easy to admire organizations that appear to run smoothly. It's much harder, and often far more educational, to study organizations that don't. When systems collapse, hidden assumptions become visible. Weak communication, missing structure, unclear financial awareness, undefined roles. Ben consistently returns to one idea: the right people need to be in the right roles. That sounds obvious until viewed through the lens of leadership. Organizations frequently attempt to solve performance problems by demanding greater effort. Employees work longer hours. Managers schedule more meetings. Owners monitor every detail more closely. But effort rarely fixes structural problems. Structure fixes structural problems. One person performing the wrong responsibilities exceptionally well is still performing the wrong responsibilities. That insight becomes increasingly important as organizations grow. The larger the operation becomes, the less success depends on individual heroics, and the more it depends on systems functioning predictably. For Ben, rebuilding practices wasn't about finding extraordinary people. It was about creating environments where ordinary daily work consistently supported extraordinary outcomes. That distinction is easy to overlook. Yet it explains why two businesses with equally talented people often produce dramatically different results. One relies on constant effort. The other relies on thoughtful design. The second almost always wins in the long run. The idea of finding the middle didn't stop with managing medical practices. It shaped the way Ben thought about patient care itself. Healthcare often rewards specialization. Specialists become exceptionally skilled at solving a particular problem, but specialization can also create blind spots. Every profession naturally views the world through its own expertise. A surgeon sees surgical opportunities. A chiropractor sees mechanical dysfunction. A medication specialist sees pharmaceutical solutions. None of those perspectives are inherently wrong. The challenge begins when they become the only perspective. Ben's response was to encourage coordinated care that brings chiropractors, nurse practitioners, and physicians into a shared decision-making process before recommending major interventions. Rather than allowing a patient's future to be determined by whichever office they happen to visit first, the objective becomes collaboration instead of competition. The lesson extends well beyond medicine. Every organization develops its own professional biases. Finance departments optimize for efficiency. Marketing teams optimize for visibility. Operations teams optimize for consistency. Sales teams optimize for growth. Each perspective creates value, but each can also become incomplete when isolated from the others. Strong leadership isn't choosing one department over another. It's creating systems where multiple viewpoints produce a better answer than any single expert could provide alone. That requires humility. It requires admitting that expertise has limits. It requires asking better questions before rushing toward familiar answers. Ben frequently emphasizes that his role begins with questions rather than conclusions. When practices struggle, he doesn't immediately prescribe solutions. He first looks for visibility. Where is the bottleneck? What numbers are missing? Which responsibility belongs to the wrong person? Which assumption has quietly become accepted as truth? Those questions matter because symptoms and causes rarely look the same. An exhausted doctor may not actually have a motivation problem. They may have a systems problem. A patient living with chronic pain may not simply need stronger medication. They may need a different sequence of care. A business experiencing slow growth may not require more customers. It may require fewer internal obstacles. The ability to separate symptoms from causes becomes one of the defining characteristics of effective operators. Throughout his interviews, Ben repeatedly returns to another idea that sounds almost deceptively simple: informed people make better decisions. He applies that equally to patients and business owners. Patients who understand what medications do, why procedures are recommended, and what alternatives exist become active participants instead of passive recipients. Business owners who understand profitability, expenses, staffing costs, and operational bottlenecks stop making emotional decisions and begin making strategic ones. Information, in his view, isn't just knowledge, it's leverage. That philosophy also explains why education appears throughout his work. He argues that many people unknowingly accept reduced expectations because they've adapted to circumstances instead of questioning them. One of the most striking ideas he shares concerns chronic pain itself. He suggests that many people gradually redefine what normal means. They stop doing activities they once enjoyed. They avoid certain movements. They quietly rearrange their lives around discomfort until those limitations begin to feel ordinary. Eventually, they stop asking whether something better is possible. Whether someone agrees with every aspect of that perspective or not, the broader leadership lesson is difficult to ignore. Human beings normalize almost everything. A struggling culture becomes just how our company works. Constant stress becomes part of the job. Poor communication becomes the way things are. Declining performance becomes the new normal. The danger isn't simply accepting limitations. It's forgetting that we've accepted them. Great leaders often create value not by introducing entirely new ideas, but by helping people notice what they've gradually stopped seeing. Ben's approach follows that pattern. He asks patients to imagine what life would look like if pain no longer dictated every decision. He asks doctors to imagine practicing medicine without constantly worrying about payroll, staffing, or financial reports. He asks business owners to understand their organizations well enough to identify the next right step instead of trying to solve everything simultaneously. That phrase, the next right step, captures much of his philosophy. Modern business culture frequently celebrates dramatic transformation. Overnight success stories dominate headlines. Companies announce massive pivots. Entrepreneurs are encouraged to think bigger, move faster, and disrupt entire industries. But sustainable growth rarely happens that way. Most meaningful progress comes through sequencing. One improvement makes the next improvement possible. One solved bottleneck exposes another. One clear decision reduces dozens of future problems. The temptation is always to chase the largest opportunity. Experienced operators usually look for the constraint that's preventing every other opportunity. That distinction separates activity from effectiveness. It also explains why Ben describes rebuilding practices while they continued operating. The goal wasn't perfection before progress. The goal was improving systems without abandoning the people already depending on them. Leadership often looks exactly like that. You're repairing the airplane while it's still flying. You're improving culture while serving customers. You're restructuring operations while meeting payroll. There is rarely a perfect moment to begin, only the decision to begin well. By focusing on the overlooked middle ground, between medication and surgery, between medicine and business, between information and action, Ben Kasle built more than a healthcare organization. He built a philosophy that suggests the best decisions rarely come from choosing extremes. They come from understanding the entire system well enough to know which step matters most next. Perhaps the most revealing aspect of Ben Kasle's journey isn't the size of the organization he helped build or the number of patients served. It's the consistency of the principle underneath every decision. Whether discussing medicine, finance, operations, or leadership, he rarely talks about chasing complexity. He talks about reducing it. His interviews repeatedly return to visibility, structure, sequence, and informed decision-making. Those themes are less exciting than flashy innovation, yet they often produce far more durable results. That may explain why he describes some of his most rewarding moments not as opening a new location or reaching a financial milestone, but watching exhausted providers rediscover their enthusiasm for patient care. When operational burdens are lifted, something changes. The same person, with the same education and the same clinical ability, suddenly becomes more engaged, more focused, and ultimately more effective. The transformation wasn't created by changing the doctor. It was created by changing the environment around the doctor. That observation carries an important lesson for every leader. People frequently receive credit or blame for outcomes that are heavily influenced by the systems surrounding them. Great environments elevate average performance. Poor environments suppress exceptional talent. Leadership, therefore, isn't simply directing people. It's designing conditions where people can perform at their best. Ben's work also highlights an uncomfortable truth about decision-making. Most mistakes aren't made because people refuse to care. They happen because people act before they fully understand the situation. Patients follow recommendations they don't completely understand. Business owners make financial decisions without clear visibility into their numbers. Teams attack obvious problems while missing the underlying constraint causing them. His response is curiosity. Ask another question. Look one level deeper. Understand the system before changing it. That discipline may be one of the rarest competitive advantages available today. In a world flooded with opinions, certainty is abundant. Careful observation is not. Another recurring theme throughout his interviews is restoring function rather than merely managing symptoms. In healthcare, that means asking whether someone can return to living the life they want, not simply whether pain has temporarily decreased. In business, the equivalent question becomes whether a company is becoming healthier, more resilient, and more capable, not merely busier. Those are very different measurements. Organizations that chase activity often mistake motion for progress. Organizations that restore function build something sustainable. As elite pain doctors expanded across Ohio and Indiana while collaborating with partners in additional markets, the underlying philosophy remained remarkably consistent. Patients should know they have choices beyond perceived extremes. Providers should spend more time practicing medicine than managing administrative chaos. Businesses should be built on systems that support people rather than consume them. Those ideas sound practical because they are, but practicality is often underestimated. The marketplace frequently celebrates dramatic breakthroughs while quietly rewarding disciplined execution. Businesses succeed because someone consistently solved ordinary problems better than everyone else. Leaders earn trust because they repeatedly make thoughtful decisions, not because they occasionally make spectacular ones. Ben's journey illustrates that pattern. Instead of building around a single breakthrough, he built around repeatable principles. See clearly, stay informed, find the real bottleneck, build the right structure, take the next right step, and perhaps most importantly, question whether the choices everyone accepts are actually the only choices available. Sometimes the greatest opportunity isn't standing at either extreme. Sometimes it's waiting in the space everyone else forgot to explore. That forgotten middle became Ben Kasle's defining advantage. And it serves as a reminder that progress often belongs not to those who think louder than everyone else, but to those willing to look more carefully than everyone else. Here's a review of what we can learn from Ben Kasle. Number 1. False choices often hide the best opportunities. Whether in business or healthcare, questioning the assumption that there are only two options can reveal entirely new paths forward. Innovation frequently begins by redefining the problem instead of accepting its boundaries. Number 2. Systems shape performance. Talented people struggle inside broken structures, while thoughtful systems allow capable people to do their best work consistently. Leaders should spend as much time improving the environment as improving the people. Number 3. Being informed leads to better decisions. Understanding the facts, the numbers, the risks, and the alternatives creates confidence and reduces costly mistakes. Curiosity is often more valuable than certainty.